Okay, first we'll talk about what are graphs in the first place? I mean, why do we need it? Uh, think about the problem like Google Maps. I think almost all of you will be using Google Maps these days. So when you want to go from point A to point B, you want to find out, okay, what's the best distance? Sometimes it show you multiple paths, right? And it shows you what are the in each path, what's the distance, what's the time, and it tells you what's the right option for you. It also tells you where the congestion is there, where is not. So how the Google Maps solve these kind of problems? This is one problem. Another option also like so you want to go from your office. So your office may be at some location O, you call it O, and this is your home, right? And while going from office to home, there are multiple checkpoints. Checkpoints as in for me, like I live in Marathali. I want to go to Belandur. I know between that Skadbesanal will come up, then Vartur will come up, then a couple of places will come up, right? So let's say there are a couple of middleware before I reach office from home. I want to go from home to office. This is one of the options. Other path can be I can go from Marathali to Belandur, and then from Belandur I can go to the office. Right? There can be other options. So this is basically a graph means is the representation of some points, and there is a connection between these points. So in this particular case, the point is my home and other hotspots which are there, which is the particular place name in this particular case, and then the office. And then there is a connection between from my home to this point. This connection is by road. Here also this connection is by road, right? So this is what you represent the graph. It's basically, so you can say there are a set of points. We call these points as vertices. You can represent by V, vertices, right? So if I say the graph is G, so it primarily has two components. One is a point, which is V, and then there is a connectivity between these points, or the relationship between these 2 points. Relationship between this particular home and this particular node is that there is a road connecting between these two things. So that's the relationship in this case. We call this relationship as edges. Okay. Now, in some of the cases, initially it's fine because I know from home to this little point, maybe distance is around 3 kilometers, and from this particular point to another point, distance is around maybe 4 kilometers. So this is another property of the edges. So it's not the property of graph per se. Graph has only two properties when you say vertices and edges. This is the property of an edge, which says, okay, how long is this particular relationship, or how big is this relationship? What's the value of this relationship? So if I say the value of edge is 3 kilometers or maybe 4 kilometers, depends on which edge it is, right? So this is how you represent a graph, or this is what a graph means. Okay. Any questions here till now?
Edges might have the time taken to travel that distance.
That second we'll cover that. See, when you say a relationship can be anything. So if I say from home to this node, the relationship is distance. So that's my relationship here right now. It might happen in another particular problem or other set of consideration. I can say the relationship is time. That's again up to you. So only thing you need to remember in a graph which are consistent here is you have some set of points and you have some set of relationships. Now how you define those points, how you define the relationships, up to you. It depends upon problem to problem.
Okay.
Now the second question comes: what are types of graph? I mean, what kind of relationship can you see? So if you ever go to any national highway, right? So if I want to go from Bangalore to Hyderabad, uh, there are two side roads, this road or one side road, right? So but on the first side road you can only go, I mean you can't travel both the ways on the same road. But if you look at our service roads that we have in Bangalore, right, people can travel both the ways. So that's the one specifically characteristics of the properties of a edge. So right, so the edges that you have, it can be two types, right? It can be directed, I mean as in it is only one directional, you can't go in both the directions, or it can be undirected. When you say undirected, is I'm talking about this case. Directed is this case. There is only one way path or one way traffic from a point to another point. Okay. So based on these type of edges, you can say graph is directed or graph can be undirected. Okay. Then there is another possibility. Like in our case, we said that the length of the road is 3 kilometers, right? But there can be a couple of other scenarios, a couple of other cases where I don't even worry about the length of the edge. I simply want to see whether these two points connect or not, whether these two cities connect or not. Like if I want to answer a question, can I go from India to UK? You simply need to see whether there are roads between India to UK by road by myself. I'm not talking about the air by road. So you simply need to see whether there is a road between India and UK. You don't care about the length of the road. You simply want to say answer is a yes or no. If there is a road, answer is yes. If there is no road, answer is no. So in this case, you don't care about the length of the road. Based on this, again, you define two kinds of graphs. One is weighted. Weighted is basically where we care about the length of the property of an edge. And the other kind of graph is non-weighted, or you can say unweighted graph. Okay. Specifically the case we mentioned, India to UK distance you want to find, or India to UK you want to go, whether there is a connectivity between these two. It's specifically for these kind of things. Okay. That's one thing. There is one more thing we define the graph. So assume you have a graph. Okay, now everyone is clear about how a graph is represented. So if I can draw this, so this is again a graph structure, right? It might happen that if you start from point A, if I call this point A, and if I keep going in the graph in some particular order, I can again come back to point A in some way. Like here, if I start from A, I can go from here to here, then I can go from here to here, then I can go from here to here. So I started from A, and then I came back to A. If this is a case I can find in any of the subpath of a graph or any graph, then these are kind of graphs are called cyclic. Okay. If this is not the case, then it's non-cyclic. So these are major three properties you define a graph based on, and any problem that you see in any interview, these are three things that you should first clarify, because based on this, how you approach a problem will change. Because every introduced things will increase your complexity. If your graph is non-cyclic, if I say it's non-cyclic, probably the complexity will be a bit less. If you increase the cyclic nature in this, your complexity might increase. Same case with direction and direction. If it is no direction, then you don't even need to worry about the traffic, two-way traffic. If it is a direction-based graph, then you need to worry about the two-way traffic, because it might happen that your graph is like this. It's a directed graph, but direction is like this. Now, if you want to see, this graph doesn't have a cycle, because if I start from this node, I can go from here. I can go from here to here via this. Then I can go from here to here via this. But from this node, I can't go back to this node, because there is only one-way traffic that's from here to here. So this is not cyclic. But if it wouldn't have been a directed graph, if the graph would have been a simple graph like this, then just by looking at the graph, you can say whether it's cyclic or not. So each of the parameter introduce some complexity. So if you approach any question, that's the first thing you need to clarify what kind of graph it is. And based on that, you pick the right set of algorithms or right set of approach. Okay. Now you come back to our initial question. Say this is Delhi. Okay. And from Delhi to Jaipur, I know there is a road connectivity. Let's say the road connectivity here is 100 kilometers. From Jaipur to you can say Satna, there is again road connectivity. Let's say it's 400 kilometers. From Satna to Mumbai, there is a road connectivity. You can say it's 800 kilometers. And from Mumbai to Bangalore, there's a road connectivity. That's again 700 kilometers. And from Bangalore to Delhi, there's again road connectivity, maybe 1200 kilometers. And from Jaipur to Bangalore, there's also a road. You can say 400 kilometers. Now I have structure like this. I want to find a path from Delhi to maybe Mumbai. How do I go about finding a path? So if I'm at Delhi, okay, I will see, okay, from Delhi, where I can go. I mean, if I want to see the path from Delhi to Mumbai, so my source here, I want to start from Delhi, and from Delhi, I want to go to Mumbai. So I just want the path. I don't worry about how the path is. Let's just give me all the paths that I can get from Delhi to Mumbai. So what you will do, you will start from Delhi. You see, okay, from Delhi, what are the options I can have? I can go to Jaipur or I can go to Bangalore. Okay, once I reach Jaipur, I know from Jaipur I can go to Satna, and from Satna I can reach Mumbai. So that's the one path. From Delhi, I can go to Jaipur. From Jaipur, I can go to Satna, and then from Satna, I can reach Mumbai. That's one path. Second path can be I can go to Delhi, and then from Delhi to I can go to Bangalore, and from Bangalore I can go to Bombay. That's another path, right? Then I can go to Delhi, then I can go to Jaipur, then Bombay, then Bombay. So there are multiple paths like this, right? So this is what a path problem looks like. So you are given a graph. You represent a graph basically by this kind of structure, which has some vertices and which has some edges. And you might want to find out a particular path. That path usually can be minimum path or maximum path, or maybe path based on some constraints. And you want to find out how do you go from a source to some destinations. So this kind of problems are called shortest path problems. If I want to find out the minimum path, you call it shortest path. Today we'll be deep diving into this, but before that I want to just set the context, how graph looks like. What does the shortest path mean? Why do you need path in the first place? If it doesn't, path is not there, how does it help you in the first place? Okay. Another example to visualize why do you need graph is think about this. So you have a city layout. So there are a couple of houses, maybe house one, then house two, then house three, other many more houses. Now you know the connectivity in these houses. So you know house one is connected with like this connected like this. You know the connectivity between all these houses. They might in the same road or they might be in the same colony, right? And you also know distance between these houses. Now the question here arises is so a new municipality came up and they want to install the fiber cable connection in all the houses. Or they want to install the gas pipeline connection in all the houses. But everyone wants to minimize the cost, right? They don't want to spend way more money than it is only required. So how do they go about figuring out where they should install the pipes, where they should install the gas connection pipes? So let's say this is the source from where all gas will start, and they want to distribute this gas to all the houses. So one way is from they start from source and they connect each house with the source directly, the way I just did. You can do this, but the problem with this is it's not optimal. You end up spending so way more money in setting up the pipelines, setting up the roads, pipeline everywhere. This is not required in the first place. What you can do, a better approach can be is instead of connecting everything to S, you can connect S to something else. Then you already know this guy is already connected to the S2. You can send from S3 to S2 itself. Then from S3 you can send to H1 itself. Right? This way you can do. This way you can minimize the cost of how do you set up the pipelines. These are some of the examples where do you want to study the graph, because based on these parameters you can easily say, okay, how do I minimize the cost, how do I optimize something. So graph, when you say graph problem, most of the cases it will be optimization problem. It won't be something like find me any path like this. It will be always optimization, find minimum path, find the best cost, how to minimize the cost. The questions in interviews will be like this. Okay, now we'll see how you should go about how do you start finding the path itself. Right now I don't know how do I start find path from S3, from S to H3. Should I connect H3 to H2 or should I connect H1 to H2? Which one you should pick? Okay, let's think about this simple question. So let's say I have a graph structure like this. You can say it's a directed graph or you can take it undirected, doesn't matter. Okay, this is my source and this is my destination. What I want to find out is the minimum path or the minimum, let's say these edges that are drawn, the relationship here is it length based. So there is a length between vertex S to maybe you can call this S prime. So the length say is around 5, maybe 5 meter something. I want to find distance from source to destination, or maybe I want to find the minimum distance. I don't want to find any distance. I want to find minimum distance. So this is one of the path I have drawn. There might be multiple paths from S going back to the many paths. This is just one of the path, right? So if I want to find the minimum distance, I can go from S to D. Let's say the minimum distance is represented by delta. I want to find delta from S to D. So how do I find delta from S to D? One of the approach can be, I mean, if you just go with the brute force approach, don't think about anything else, you don't know how to do, you simply take the brute force approach. I know I want to reach D. Okay, what are the options for me to reach D? I can reach D from here, from anywhere. So basically, if you can say the edge, you can represent the edge by UV, right? And V is my destination. Or you can better write it as maybe UD. So when I say edge UD, that means there is a connectivity between U and D. So there is a vertex U. It has an edge from D. That's what it means. What I need to do is I can reach D from all the vertices it has an edge from, right? That's obvious from the graph itself. So I can reach D from here, from here, from here. What if, and I want to find out what delta, right? Delta is what? Minimum path from S to D. So I can write delta here as like this. Okay. So what you say delta here is you find the minimum path from S to U. Maybe U is some vertex which connects here. Like U here is this other vertex. And then I have a weight of edge. I have a weight of edge which is what? U to D. right? And then I do is the minimize. So over this value, I minimize it. Minimize for all all u. So if I do this, I get a I do get a path, minimum path from S to D. Don't worry about complexity for now. We'll just see whether does this works or not. So what I'm doing here is I want to reach D. I can reach D from all the connecting vertices, all the vertices which does connect to D. If I find the minimum path to all the vertices which connects D, and then add that vertex which was connecting D, maybe add that edge which is connecting to D, I do get the minimum path from S to D, right? Guys, are you able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I do this, I know I can find the minimum path. Now we'll worry about how do I think about going about this view, because this looks an exponential solution. What you are doing is you are trying all the possible paths that you can have from S to D, and they can be exponential. So this is not a right approach, or maybe you can say it's an optimal approach, but this is one of the approach that you can find if you want to go from S to D. We'll think about optimization this path, but that's what it is, right? Before we go further, I'll introduce to you a new concept that will be helpful for you. Let's say this is a graph, okay? There is something called as cut in a graph, okay? What cut means is it's basically a set of edges. The set of edges, if you remove the set of edges, the graph divides into two parts. A connected graph divides into two parts. When I say connected, it basically means I can go from any vertex to any other vertex. So this one graph, right? There might be a graph like this. So in this particular graph structure, I can't go from vertex 1 to vertex 3 because there is no connectivity between them. So this is a disconnected graph. The graph I just draw in the above picture, it's a connected graph. So that's what I mean by connected. So cut in a graph means if you just remove those vertices, it will become from connected to unconnected graph, not connected graph. Right? So here if I say, I can say these edges are a cut. This edge 1 and this edge 2. If I just remove these two edges, my graph will be divided into two parts. That's what a cut means. Okay. Now we'll see how can I use this definition to say how to find out the right algorithms for our graph structures. Okay. So let's say this is my graph and there is one node. There is one node here. There is the connectivity between these nodes. I call it U. I call it V. It is connected somehow. Okay. There might be connectivity from here to here. Okay, what I represent here is the graph structure. Here I'm only considering these two nodes. I'm only focusing on these two nodes, which is U and V. U can be connected to any other nodes or a set of nodes. V also can be connected to any set of nodes. If this is my cut that I'm representing by the red line, these set of edges are my cut, right? Now if I remove these edges, my graph will be divided into two parts. One on the left with U has a vertex, one on the right with V as a vertex. Now I have to find out how do I figuring about minimum path, right? Okay, if I want to see, if I want to connect these two, let's say you remove all the edges which are over the red line. So I remove this edge, I remove this edge, and I remove this edge. So now the graph is disconnected. What is the minimum edge that I should add so that the graph becomes connected again? You can say edge 1, edge 2, edge 3, right? You want to add an edge to this particular graph so that it becomes connected again. What should the edge that you should add? Ideally, it should be the minimum edge connecting these two components, right? Let's say I was saying the UV was the minimum edge. So if I just add U and V, I know the graph is connected because U is connected to other set of vertices here, V is connected to a set of vertices here, and I connect U and V. So basically I can reach from any point in this graph to another point in this graph because there is a connectivity now, right? So what we so here is, because if you add any other edge, your weight will increase. Okay, let's say think about this in this way. Okay, let's say your question was somehow it can like you want to find the minimum weight graph, okay, such that all nodes are connected. When I say nodes, basically vertices. Okay, that was your question. Let's assume I do found the minimum weight subgraph here that connect all the vertices. I also have some structure here which connect all the vertices. Now I do have two disconnected components of a graph. I want to connect them. How do I connect them so that I do preserve the property of minimum weight graph? You will want to connect them with the minimum weight graph, right? You minimum weight edge, whichever the edge was there in the cut, whichever was the minimum weight edge, you pick that edge and then you connect it. So here U and V are is one of the edge that says the minimum edge. You connect it. Somehow, if I don't connect with U and V, let's say I connect different edge, but I know the weight of this edge one E1. Let's say this edge E2 is. I know the weight of E1 is less than weight of E2. If I use E2 to connect these two components, I am increasing the overall weight of my answer, overall weight of my subgraph. I don't want that. I simply want to minimize the weight. So I'll end up picking E1 because E1 is the minimum weight edge that connects these two components. So this is a very important concept, the concept of cut. So which edge you should pick in a cut? Here I'm picking a minimum weight edge in a cut. Because if I pick higher weight edge, I end up adding more weight to the graph while my whole idea was to minimize the graph. Okay. Now we'll move out. How can I use this definition of cut to find out different algorithms? Now when you go to graph, we'll in this particular lecture we'll be only deep diving into minimum weight path. Minimum weight paths. So when you say minimum weight paths, there are actually three variations to it. You can say single source to single destination, single source to multiple destination, and multiple sources to multiple destination. What it means is, so you have a graph like this. Here, if I'm just worried about finding the minimum path from 1 to 3, that problem will basically come in this particular set, single source, single destination. If I want to find the minimum path from 1 to 2 and 1 to 3 also, I have fixed source. My source is fixed, which is 1. I want to go from 1 to 2 and 1 to 3. That problem will cover here. Single source, multiple paths, multiple destination. Now, if I want to find out the minimum path from every other node to every other node, so basically I want to find out the minimum path from 1 to 2, from 1 to 3. I want to find the minimum path from 2 to 1 and 2 to 3. Similar for 3. 3 to 1 and 3 to 2. If this is my question, then it covers here. Multiple sources, multiple destinations. Okay. We'll be majorly focusing on these two steps here. This is anyways a direct inclusion of other of them. You can easily figure it out. Here we'll be focusing on single source, single destination, and single source, multiple destination. So let's use the idea of cut. So first we'll suppose single source, multiple destination. Here we do have two major algorithms. One is Dijkstra. Okay, other one is Bellman-Ford. See, all the algorithms that you see now, all the algorithms that you see for graph is based on the basic idea. The basic idea is how do you define your cut. Dijkstra use the concept of cut in some different way. Bellman-Ford use the concept of cut in some different way. So right, that's what we did. We had a graph like this. I know this path is connected. I know this path is connected. I want to connect these two graphs. What I did is, and I know this one is the cut. I pick the minimum weight edge from this particular set of edges to this particular set of edges. You pick a minimum weight edge and you use that edge as part of your answer. That's what they did. And we proved it. Why do you need a minimum edge? You don't want a higher edge because if you pick a higher edge, the overall cost will increase while you wanted to find the minimum weight edge. Okay, we'll be using only this concept to find all the other algorithms. So what Dijkstra does is, so if you take a graph, this is one. The weight over the edges that are written is the weight of the edge, and inside the circles is the vertex number, just for the representation. So let's assume I have this sample graph. I want to find the single source shortest path from 1. So basically, I want to find the minimum path from 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5. So what Dijkstra does is, it starts from an empty cut. Empty cut, what I means is, there is nothing on the left side and everything on the right side. The definition of cut that we see, right? There are two sides on the left and the right. I want to connect left to right. So what I did, I picked the minimum weight edge. That's what I did in the cut. Dijkstra starts with an empty cut. When I say empty cut, that means there is nothing on the left side, so everything on the right side. So there is a right. This is the whole set of graph edges and vertices of the graph. It starts with an empty cut. There is nothing on the left side. This is empty, and you want to do you take an vertex from here and you move that vertex here. That's the idea of the extra. Okay, how this works is from source you see what is the cut from source. This is the cut from source, right? Because if I just remove two edges 2 and edges 4, this will be a disconnected graph. One will be on the left side and 2, 3, 4, 5 on the right side. So okay, now I figure out my cut. My cut is 2 and 4. What we did is we took the minimum weight edge. Okay, we take the minimum weight edge, that is this edge 1, 2, 2. That's what we did. Okay, now we draw this graph. Next is what we do again, which is my new set of edges on the left. My new set of edges on the left is like 1 and 2. 2 is here and 1 is here, right? Because these are connected by 2, and there are some set of edges on the right side. These are on the left side. What I need to find out is now the cut here again. What's the cut here again? The cut here is this edge 1 to 4. This the one in blue 1 to 4. If I just remove 1 to 4, basically the edge with weight 4, edge with weight 5, and edge with weight 7. If I remove these three edges, my graph again becomes disconnected, right? Because there's the edge from 1 to 3, there is edge from 2 to 3, there's edge from 2 to 4. If I just remove these three edges, my graph will again become disconnected. What you do next time, you again pick the edge with the minimum weight. Okay, what's the edge with the minimum weight? This is the edge with minimum weight. Okay, and you keep on doing that, you will find the minimum weight shortest path in any graph. Now there are only one caveat to this. If I can reach from vertex 1 to vertex 8 by distance 9, I know there's one more path from reaching vertex 1 to vertex, let's say this 5. I will obviously pick the path which is shortest way, right? That's what anyways I want. This is something we need to take care of. Okay, that's the only thing we need to consider here. That's obvious, but again, we need to include here. So what we'll do to just maintain that path, we will keep on each vertex, we'll keep a property which will say what's the weight or what's the distance or the minimum distance I have from source to that vector node. So here I know when I initialize my initial cut, which was 2 and 4, that was the initial cut. I pick the vertex, this particular vertex, which is 1 and 2. Okay, I know I can reach 2 from 1 with a weight of 2, right? With the cost of 2, because that's the edge cost. I add the cost here. Now, once it is done, I pick my next cut. This is my next cut, right? On this cut, I pick a minimum weight edge. What's the minimum weight edge? Minimum weight edge is 1 to 3, edge length 1 to 3, which is 4. So I pick that weight and they update the weight for 3, which I make it 4 because that's the weight for 3. Now, what kind of structure I have here? So now you have 1, 2, and 3 on the left side, because these three vertices you have considered. You have connected 1, 2 with weight 2. You have connected 1, 3 with weight 4. These are on the left side. And on the right side, you have other vertices, which is 4 and 5. Right? And there are edges from this cut. What are the edges? These are your edges. 7 and 1. So if I just remove 7 and 1, my graph again becomes disconnected. What do you do in this case? You pick the minimum weight edge as the next edge to include in your graph. So here the minimum weight from 7 and 1 is minimum is 1. So you pick this edge. Once you pick this edge, now want to reach 5 from 1. What's the weight I can reach 5? I reach 3 with a weight of 4. So I'll reach 5 with a weight of 4 plus 1, which is 5. Okay. Now, next one. So again, once you take 5, this 5 goes from here and this 5 comes here and you connect this 5 with 3. What's the next cut? So the next cut is this one, right? Because if you just remove these particular edges, 7 and 9 edges, with weight 7 and 9, your graph again becomes disconnected. So you pick the minimum weight edge out of cut. What's the minimum weight edge out of cut? Minimum weight edge is 7, right? So you pick the 7, you pick this particular edge, and what's the cost that you can reach 4 from 2 is 7. So 7 plus 2, because the cost to reach 2 was initially 2, so 7 plus 2 is 9. So that's your that's how you manage shortest path. Any questions, anyone?
How do you decide on the edges? This is not very clear to me.
Okay. See, every time what you do, you define a cut. How do you define a cut? Cut is basically a set of edges. If you just remove those edges, it will bisect your graph into two paths. From that cut, you pick a minimum weight edge. So if you just see here, right? Initially, we had only one in our empty cut, right? If I just draw it here, we had only one here, and other side we have all the edges. So what I saw, what are the edges that are coming out of one that are connecting this graph? Let me remove this path. It will be more clearer if I just do it. This was 7. Okay. Now, how I said of the extra stars is the extra starts with an empty cut. That's one thing. Now I know it doesn't have. So when I say empty cut, it means there's nothing on the left and everything on the right. So on the right of the graph that we saw here is 2 is there, and 4 is there, 5 is there, 3 is there, and it starts with an empty cut. Empty cut as in, for the extra I know my source is fixed. So I put my source in the initial set here, which is on the left. On the left one comes. Now these are my two set of graph, or you can say subgraph. I'll find out the cut within this set of subgraph. So what are the cut? What are the edges? One connects to 2 and one connects to 3. So if I just remove these two edges, my graph will become disconnected. You just remove these two edges, my graph will become disconnected. So that means it's a cut. On a cut, you always pick the minimum weight edge as your next consideration. So here, I'll pick the edge which is minimum weight, which is from 2 and 4. I know the weight is minimum is 2. So I'll pick the edge with weight 2. Okay, now you pick this edge. Once you pick this edge, that particular node which it is connecting to, which is again 2, it comes on the left side. So your graph will change something like this. So 2 will go from here, this edge goes from here, and 2 will come on the left side. Now 1 and 2 are connected with a weight 2, and this is your new set of edges. Now from here you see, now if this is my new set of graph, what's the cut now? To find the cut, what do you see? You see the outbound edges from on the left to right. I know there's the edge from 2 to 3. I know there's the edge from 1 to 3. And there's the edge from 2 to 4 also. I know these three edges are there. So if I remove these three edges, my graph will again become disconnected. Right? So here I represent these other three edges. These, this, and this. The one in the green line, over the green line. So if you remove these three edges, your graph will become disconnected. Again, you find out the minimum out of these edges. Minimum is 4. So this is the minimum that you pick. Once you pick that edge, 3 will come on the left side again. So 3 will go from here, right? And 3 will come here on the left. Once you do that, again you find the new cut. What's your new cut? So your graph becomes like this now. 1, 2, and 3 on the left, and 4 and 5 on the right. Then you find the new cut. From the new cut, again you find out the minimum weight edge. What's your new cut right now? So 3 connects to 5, and 2 connects to 3. It's already there, and 2 connects to 4 also. And I think that's it. There are only 2 edges that connects that particular graph. So if you mark here in the graph, these are 2 edges. One which is a blue line is over. So if you remove these 2 edges, your graph will again become disconnected. Here again you pick the minimum weight edge. Since the weight is same here, you pick any of the edge, and then you add that edge or that vertex on the left side, and then you do the same. You do this till your right subgraph becomes empty. Once this becomes empty, then that time your answer will done. I mean, you will have your answer. So for always you pick the minimum weight edge in the cut. Okay. I mean, do you have the answer?
Yes, thanks. Yeah.
But every time you pick an vertex, there's only one thing that I said you need to take care of. That was like, if I can go from 1 to 8 with some edge, and if I can go from 1 to 8 with another path, you want to find the minimum path. So you always keep track of what's the minimum path I can go from 1 to 8. One path can be like 1 to 8, I can go with 10 kilometers. 1 to 8, I can go with 5 kilometers. You want to pick the 5-kilometer path, right? Because that's what you want to do anyways. You want to find the minimum weight path. That's one calculation you do with every node. You always find out the minimum weight path. Okay, so this is how you determine the extra. It's simple idea. It's just that you need to understand what is cut and how do you use the cut in your all algorithms. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me what's the problem with this algorithm? Will it always work? What's the problem with these algorithms? Anyone? Any idea? Okay. What if there is a negative weight edge? I mean, it might be difficult to visualize what a negative weight edge means, but when you say edge, we define the edge by based on property. We never said edge will always have some distance or always some time, because distance and time are usually positive. They are not negative with the reference, obviously. But we never said it's always based on distance and time. It can be anything. It is a property. You can define the property anyways. So if I assume, let's say, I know I have a short circuit system. I mean the wiring system at my home, and I know this is my room one, and this is my powerhouse. You can say the main power comes from. Power flows from power to room house, right? If I represent this like this, okay, power is flowing from room one to powerhouse. It's not happening. Power is always flowing in this direction, right? It's never flowing in the other direction. So if I say I want to represent a graph in which the property is like power always flow from a source to always the power source. So in this case, I will say whether let's say the power here was 10 ohm, here the power will be minus 10 ohm, because it's a negative of it. I'm not transferring any power. It's not happening. It is always pushing it back, because no power will transfer from room to power house. So this is how you define a negative edge. I mean, there are some applications of it, but that's a easier way of visualizing it. Why do we need a negative edge in a graph in the first place? Okay, but now coming to your question, if it has a negative edge, it won't work. Anyone, any idea why it won't work if it has a negative edge?
Because the cut will always choose the negative value, right?
Yeah, but again, if you choose negative, that's good for you, right? Anyways, because if you choose the negative edge, it's good for you anyways. You want to minimize the weight. I mean, what's the problem with that? Even if you choose the negative edge. Okay, think like this. So that was your graph, right? There was some set of edges like this, and there were connectivity between like this. What's the first thing that you did? I mean, you were left was empty and right was not empty, right? What you did every time, you pick a cut. I mean, if it was left, it was right. You pick a cut from here, you take an edge, and whichever edge you pick, whatever was the right on the right side of whatever the vertex, you take that vertex and put on the left side. Once you put the vertex on the left side, do you ever touch that vertex again? You never touch the vertex again. You only touch that vertex till the point it is on the left side, on the right side. Once a vertex is on the left side, you assume it's in your answer. You never touch it again, because that's the idea of all the extra. That's how you optimize it. Which path to pick? It always pick the path with the minimum weight. It's a greedy algorithm. It always pick the path with minimum weight, right? Once a vertex come from right to left, you never touch it again. You always find the cut, and of that cut, you always find the right side vertex. So that means that vertex come on the left, you are never choosing it again, right? If this happens, and now assume, let's say the weight was here, something like this was 4, this was 5, and this was minus 10. Okay. Now I know if I want to go from A to B, I can go with a weight of 4, or I can go from A to C, then from C to B. If I go from A to B from via C, my cost is minus 5. Plus 5 minus 10, which is minus 5. But if I go directly, it's 4. But if I apply the extra here, what the extra will do? Okay, my left side is empty, it is only A, and on the right everything is there, which include B and C. Okay, these are the edges which are 4 and 5. I know my cut, I'll pick the minimum out of it. The minimum out of it is what? 4, right? If I pick 4, my B will go on the left. So A and B will come here, and now my new graph will be A and B. So from A and B, then I'll see the cut from A to B. So now I'll see this cut. If I see this cut, I'll always update B to C. I'm never updating C to B, because once I pick an element, it is never going to be considered again, right? So that's the problem with the extra. If there is negative weight edge, since it's a greedy algorithm, if it picks a positive weight edge before to reach a particular node, it is not going to consider negative weight edge that might be used to reach a node again. Okay, so it doesn't work for negative weight edges. So that's the first condition. Second one, it is not a good algorithm for directed graphs. Just remember that. Okay, let's move to other algorithm, which is single source, single destination. So you want to go from initially the diagram it right. You want to go from S to S prime, then there are some edges, some vertices, and you want to go to D, from S to D. So how do you go about solving this problem? So let's say there is a connectivity between S to D, and I want to find out the minimum weight edge or minimum weight path from S to D. So now these kind of problems is a specific set of problems, but by the way, they are more prominent. Most of the questions you will see are either based on this or the extra. So these are the problems. It has two properties. First, the properties, it's always a directed graph. Second thing is it's a single source, single destination problem. Okay. If these two parameters are there, you might not want to use the extra, because in the extra, your complexity is order of kind of V square, you can say. It's by specific, if you want to be specific, it will be order of V log V plus E, but general it is OV square. You can figure it out by your ideas. I mean, what you did every time. You are picking a cut, right? What is a cut? Cut is a subset of edges. Every time you are picking a cut, how many edges can be there every time you consider? There can be at most V edges every time you consider, right? Because what are the edges? These edges connect between vertices. So every time you are picking from a set of V edges, maximum V edges, some edges, right? And that edge has to minimum weight. So if you see you want to find minimum out of some set of things, what you will do to optimize? You will use a priority with some kind of structure. That means to find the minimum out of those cut, your complexity will be log V. And that you are doing how many times? You are doing it V times. Because for every vertex, you are taking the vertex, adding to the right, left, then you're finding the new cut. You're doing it V times. So your complexity is V log V. And edge will become here because every time you also keep a track of, can I reach vertex A from vertex B? And if I can reach vertex A from vertex C also, which one is giving me the minimum cost? You're also keeping track of for that every edge. So that's why V log V plus E. This is direct. I'm not going to detail for this how V log V plus E comes. It's pretty much easy. You can easily figure it out. We'll go about this problem. If there is a directed graph and it has a single source, single destination kind of structure, how do you find it? Do you really need to spend so much time, which is order of V square, or can you do it better? Because in all the questions that you do, I mean, all the interview questions, first thing you need to do is, that's the basic criteria. No, I will tell you what they expect. First thing they will expect is brute force. If you don't know the solution, simply come with brute force. You don't need to worry about anything, optimization, anything. Simply go with brute force. Then using the idea that you use the brute force, you come up with the optimization. Okay. The questions that we had, that single source, single destination in a directed graph, you can do with order of V square, but the extra. There's no problem. You can easily do it. But this is a brute force. This is not the optimization. You can optimize it. If you look at the structure of a single source shortest path, since it's a directed graph, I can draw something called a topological sort for this. If you do a topological sort of this, you can do it faster. Okay, what the topological sort means is, so it's basically only valid for directed graph, by the way. It doesn't work for undirected graph. It has no idea for the undirected graph, only for the directed graph. So what it says is, if I have an edge from U to V, okay, this direction U to V, first thing is a representation. That's the first thing. Okay, it's nothing called that or anything. It's a representation. So if I have an edge from U to V, I should always represent U before V. In all the representation that I do, or in all the traversal that I do, I should always traverse U before V. Because it might happen, I can reach V from this C also. Let's say this C also. Okay, so I cannot say my topology was over the CVU. That's wrong, because there is an edge from U to V. If there is edge from any vertex, that vertex, the source vertex, should always come before destination vertex. The source, then destination for all the vertices. That's how you represent topology. It always has to be like this. So if I say U to V, V is a destination vertex and SU is a source vertex. That's what I mean by source and destination vertex. So it always has to represent U, V. It cannot represent V to U. Okay, that's what topology is. There are algorithms for this. It's pretty much straightforward. It's a DFS based direct algorithm. You can have a look. Now, see, in our graph case, our graph was like this. You have a source and then you have a prime, then there are other connectivities. Okay, and then this is destination. I want to find my distance from S to D. Okay, there might be some other connectivity here also, which some other vertices here. There might be some other vertices that are going out of S, whatever, some structure can be there. Now here, what I can do is I can write a topological sort for my graph that if there is a path from S to D, then D will always come after S. So if S is somewhere here in topological sort, D will be somewhere here. There might be some other nodes between, but D will be always after S. And all the edges in topological sort from S will always be like this. It always forward edges. None of the edge will be backward because that's what topological sort means. The source should always come before destination. So you write a topological sort for this, and then you start from source and do what you did in the extra. Keep updating every edge with the weights, and once you reach a destination, you will always have the minimum path. Are you able to get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Okay. We can move to question because it's better if I give you some time about the question also. So, okay, this question is basically a simple implementation of the extra. Okay, what the question says here is, so you have a set of edges, and the edges here is basically the, you can say the flighting cost, or you can say the flighting distance, and the vertices here are the airports. So you have an airport which are represented by vertices, and you have an edges which is represented by the cost, which is the connectivity between airport 1 to airport 2, like that. Okay, now you are given a list which says, in the example 1, if you see, it says if I want to go from airport 0 to airport 1, I will have to pay $100. If I want to go from 1 to 2, I have to pay $100. 0 to 2, $500. Now there's restrictions. He wants to find out basically the minimum cost that you can find. That's what anyways the idea is. What you want to find out is the minimum price that you have to pay if you want to go from a source vertex to a destination vertex. But the constraint here is you cannot travel more than k airports. So the k is a number which says the maximum number of flights that you can switch. So k is the number of switches that you can have, and there is a cost for every flight. That's what is given, and you want to find out the minimum cost that you need, the minimum amount of money that you need to go from source to destination airport with only these many switches. So that's the question. Okay, and everyone just go through the question once. Just go through example once, you will know. So if you see here, like in the example 1, it says there are 3 airports, and the edges says is from airport 0 to airport 1, the cost is 100. Similar from airport 1 to 2, cost is 100, like that. And it is saying I want to go from source 0, I want to go to destination which is 2, and I can make only one change where k is 1. I can make only one change in the flight from going from 0 to 2. I want to find out the minimum cost. So if you see in the graph, from 0 to 2, I can go without changing, and the cost is 500. If I want to go, I can go from 0 to 1, and then I can go from 1 to 2. Here also, I have only one change. I will make only one change, but the cost here is less. 100 plus 100 is 200. It's marked in red. So that's the answer here. Now another example here is if the number of stops here, example is same. It just says you cannot make any change. If you can't make any flight change, you have to go directly. So that means there is 0 to 2 edges, which is the cost is 500. The marked in blue. That's the answer. So that's your question. Just think about it for 5 minutes. Let me know what do you think, how you can approach this question. So think in terms of the extra. What did you do in the extra? You start with an empty cut, then you pick each edge based on the minimum weight of the cut one by one. And if the weight is minimum, then you take it and then you move forward. Okay, that was simple the extra. I mean, here if I remove the constraint of k, won't be same as the extra, because here you want to find this minimum path from source to destination, or won't be same as the other algorithm that we discussed based on topological sort. It will be same, right? If I just remove the constraint of k, the only thing new here is the constraint that you cannot travel more than the 20 flights. In the extra, you did what? You find the minimum path from S to D, but there is no constraint. You can travel any number of edges. There is no concern over that. Only concern was the weight of the edges. Here, the constraint is the number of edges, and you want to find out the minimum weight on those edges. So that's the only thing changing in the extra, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you can do is you do the same as the extra. Just add one more constraint. Which edge? There is no constraint on the number of edges. So you just simply add one more constraint on the extra algorithm. If the number of edges are more than k, then you don't consider that path. If at any point you see that you already traveled more than k edges, you don't consider any more path for that edge. So the input you see, there are some flights, which is basically flight. There is source and destination. There are k. Okay, this flight is what? It's basically the edges. It's saying it's a list of list. So these are the edges that I have. I know there are n airports. There are some connection between n airports which are flights. Source is one of the airport out of n. Destination is also one of the airport out of n, and k is the number of airports that you can hop. Okay. First thing you need to do is you represent this in some form of graph. So what you do usually is like you try to create a map out of it. So if you see the input here, like then edges input, right? It is 0, 1, and 2. So you need to represent in a graph representation. That's one of the things. How do you represent the graph in the first place? So if you can see my whiteboard, so if your graph is like this, okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and the weight is, let's say, 4, this weight is 6, this weight is 9, this weight is 7, this weight is 10. Okay. So usually there are two ways to represent the graph. There are many multiple ways. You can represent any ways as you want. Usually there are two ways. One, you represent it as a matrix, 2D matrix. Okay. And the other one is by list. Okay. So if I represent my matrix, what I do, I create a matrix with the size of number of vertices. So number of vertices are 4. So I create a matrix of size 4. And then in the locations, I write the weight of edge. So this is my edge 1, vertex 1, vertex 2, vertex 3, vertex 4, vertex 1, 2, 3, 4. I know there is no connectivity between 1 and 1. You simply mark it as, you don't mark it, you mark it infinity anything, or simply don't mark it. I know from 1 to 2 there's a connectivity of 4. So 1 to 2 becomes 4. Since it's an undirected graph, so that means I can go from 2 to 1 also by cost of 4. So 2 to 1 also you mark as 4. So here this side is a source and this side is a destination. Okay. So when I say 1, 2, this is like 1 and 2. The edge between 1 and 2 you'll mark here. Okay. Same like 1 to 3, the weight is 6. Again 3 to 1, you go to 3, then you go to 1, the weight is 6. Okay. This way you can mark the weights of a graph. The other way which I prefer more is the list ways. So I can say from 1, or you can say map by map. So the key being the vertex ID and the values being the connected vertex IDs. From 1 I can connect to 2 and I can connect to 3. But I know from 1 I can connect to 2 with a weight of 4. So what you do, you create it as a pair. Okay. And 1, 2, 3 I can connect with a weight of 6. Similarly, from 2 I can connect to 1, 3, and 4. From 1 I can connect with a weight of 4. And 3 I can connect with a weight of 9. Why the second way is more preferable? Because if your graph is sparse, then most of the columns or most of the matrices here will be empty. So you end up wasting way more space than it is already required. Okay. Now for our question, what we'll do is we try to create our graph structure first. If you don't understand any part of the code, let me know. I will explain, because the Python, I'm not sure how many of you knows Python. So you call it, let's say, a flight map, and create it as a dictionary, because that's anyways the list we are using second import of list based. List was what? It's a dictionary. The key being the vertex ID and the value being the weight as well as the vertex I connect to. Now we read the flight map that was there. Okay. So now what I've done here is I know my flight is a pair which is of 3, which has initial value is source, then is destination, then is a cost. So what I create the map is my source, and then from here I have destination, I have cost. So this way I get my graph structure what I wanted. Now we need to write something like you define a cut, right? So which element do you pick out of cut? We'll write that path here first. Now what we did in the extra is we pick the minimum weight edge first, right? You want to find, you always want to keep track of minimum. I told you, right? If there are, you want to find the minimum, the number of edges at every time can be v. So you want to find the minimum of v. What you do is you can use a priority queue kind of structure. Priority queues are also called as heaps. So here I'm going to use heap in Python. You can also use, there's a library in Python used called as queue library. You can use that. I simply use heap because that's easy to do and there is no problem also. Okay. Now, how I'm going to store the values in heap is I want my heap to be always sorted by cost, right? Because I want to find the minimum cost. That's first thing I need to consider while taking the next edge. The second thing I need to consider while taking an edge is the number of edge at any point in time cannot be more than one. So I also need to track of the number of edge that I have taken till now. And the third thing again is the vertex, which vertex that edge connects to. Okay, so here I will keep a triplet. The first value being the weight was the weight of the edge. Right now I am at vertex, source vertex, so I don't give any weight. I am there only. I don't need to pay any cost. The number of hops I've done till now is nothing, so I will say -1. I have not done any hop till yet. And where I am in the source, right? So that's your source vertex. So this way you will keep your priority queue. Now every time you go to a vertex, it might happen that there is a loop. If there is a loop, how do you keep track of it? So we maintain a boolean variable which says whether you visit the vertex or not. So I maintain a visited which is set. I keep adding the value vertex is here, and the next time I visit a vertex which is already visited, I don't go here because that's what they did, right? If you remember, if you take a vertex from the right and right side box, right, in the graph that we discussed here. So what you did, you take a edge from here in the cut, and whichever vertex you take, you write it here. And the next time you do, you don't consider the vertex again. Once you used it, you don't consider it again, right? So you have to keep track of whether you consider vertex or not. So that's why the set here is the implementation part of it. But theoretically, that's what it is. Okay. Now you write a while loop and you keep processing it. Now how do you keep processing it? First thing, you take the item from the queue. You initialize with empty set, right? Empty cut. So you take the best item from the heap because that's what you did. From the cut, you took the minimum out of the cut, the minimum edge from the cut. How do you take minimum weight from a queue? You pop the value from a queue. So just take the top item from the priority queue. That will always give the minimum. So here heap structure that I used, it always sort by the first variable that I given here. So that's why I keep the cost as the first vertex. I mean keep the cost as a first triplet value. Okay. Now this is cost. The next value is the number of stops that you can have, and then is the city. What you do is you say heapq dot pop. This heap pop, not heapq pop, and then you see the structure. Okay. Once you take out a node, what you did in the extra. Once you identify which edge to remove, here you identify which edge to remove. That edge is the minimum weight edge. The minimum path will be handled by the heap pop. It will always give the minimum weight edge. Once you remove minimum weight edge, the next thing you did is you take that vertex from the right side and put it in the left side. Here to maintain the distinction, what we are doing is we are maintaining a set. So next thing you do is you add that vertex in the visited because that is considered. You are not going to consider that vertex again once you have considered it. Okay. When are you going to break it? You're going to break it when you reach the destination. So you need to put that condition here. So if any point of time you see the city is destination, you stop it. But it is asking for the number of cost, you simply return the cost. Now, after you take an item from a cut, what you did next time? You create a new. So here, if you see, if I take this item here, I add it here on the left cut. By adding, I did what? I added in the visited. I did the visited. What's the next thing I did? I kept on doing this recursively until I get all the vertices from here to here. That's what I did in the extra. But here the condition is different. I can only do it till the number of edges are less than k. If the number of edges are more than k, I can't do it. Right? So I will keep doing it recursively, but only thing I need to take care of, I won't do it if the number of edges are more than k. So if my stops is less than k, then only I can keep recursing it. If it is more than k, I can't recurse it, right? So if the stops are less than k, you keep recursing it. How do you keep recurse it? From the new set, you see from the new set on the left side, how do you keep recurse? Because once you add an edge here, what you did, you see all the edges that goes out of this or this subsection of the graph on the left side, and you take the minimum out of it, right? So how do you find all the edges that goes out of it? You already have that. You have in the priority queue all the vertices which are on the left side. You have all the vertices on the priority queue, right? See, what you might, okay, it might be a bit confusing. Okay, let me clear it again, write it again. Initially, what you did, you have an empty set on the left and everything on the right. You take a vertex based on the minimum width and you put it here. So now this vertex becomes here. Next, you take all the edges that this vertex has to the right side of subgraph. You take all the edges, you pick the minimum out of it. Let's say the minimum was this. What you do, you take that vertex from here and you write it here. Okay. Now, next iteration, what you do, you take all the edges that goes out of these two vertices, or whatever the vertex was there on the left, and then again you pick the minimum out of it. That's what he was doing always, right? So now we need to write that path. Okay, so for, you can say nexity to represent the nexity that is there in my option, and it will have a flight cost also, right? Okay, so whichever vertex I picked, whatever the vertex I pick right now, I'm picking the city path, right? So you take the clear. What I'm doing is flight map is what it tells me to what other cities this particular city is connected to. So I take all the cities this particular city is connected to, and I take all those vertex as part of my cut. Okay, how do I take them as part of my cut? I add them in the priority queue. Push, and you are adding in the here. Now, once you consider a particular vertex, the cost has to be updated for that, right? Also, right? Because what you did here in our graph structure like this, right? If I can reach from here to here with a cost of 5, and I can reach here to here with a cost of this edge is 7, so I can reach from here to here with a cost of 12, right? That's what we did in the extra also. You add the weight of each edge along the way. So my cost will become cost plus the new cost that this city can give. What's the new cost? That's the flight cost. So you add the cost there. But since you are going to other city, you are taking a flight, so you have to increase the number of flights that you've already taken. What's the number of flights that you've already taken? Till now you have taken the flight as stops. That many flights you have taken till this point. So you increase the number of flights by 1 because that's the new flight that you have taken. And now what's your new city? That is your new city that you are going to. And I think that's it. That should be enough. That's what you need to do. If you don't find anything, simply return -1. And yeah, it should be fine. Let's try running it. See, it passed. Okay. If you submit, I think it will pass. I have done it a couple of months back. Yeah, it will pass. Okay. Now, if you look at the code, whatever we did at every point, it's exactly what we did in theoretically. First, you define your cut. How are you defining your cut? You're defining your cut by this path. Okay, on the left side, I only have source. On the right side, everything else by default comes. Okay. Then what I did, I picked the minimum out of cut. So this is the next line that's doing. You pick the minimum weight out of the cut. Once you pick the minimum weight out of the cut, you don't consider that vertex again. So that's what this path is doing. If it is there, you don't consider it again. Okay. And then the next path is in our case, like special case, because it's a single path. If the city's destination are same, you take it in the, and then you keep recursing it. That's what we are doing here. Okay, guys, any question? Are you able to see the code? Able to understand what I did?
I have a question. Like you are adding in the visited, right? You are adding the
Yeah,
city.
I know. See, I added it just for your understanding purpose. In this case, I don't have a use for this. Even if I remove this, it will work.
Yeah, because you're not checking that condition, right?
Yeah, I added it so that you understand the flow. In this case, I don't require it because I am never considering that edge again. But in special cases, you will require it. So if you write the extra, you will require it since it's a directed graph. By nature of it, this is directed graph. So I don't require it. If it would have been undirected graph, I will require it. So even if you run without it, it will work. I know that part. I just said so that you understand the flow.
Okay.
Any other questions, anyone?
Whenever we get this kind of questions, right, how do you decide on which algorithm to
Never pick an algorithm. That's the idea. That's why I go about how do you think about graph problems. Always think in terms of cut. See, I told the extra works based on greedy. It picks the edge with the minimum width. There are other algorithm which picks the edge in different way. So it's up to you how do you pick the edge. Never worry about what the extra will do. Will the extra run here or not? Simply think in basic core terms. If this is the graph and this is my cut, which edge makes sense for me to pick it up? So always pick from that perspective that I said, right? You have a graph like this. So you on the left you have right. So you see which edge you can pick and write to your answer. Which particular vertex you can pick and write to your answer. Always think in that terms. Don't think in terms of the extra and all because they are a basically product of these core idea itself. So think about the idea. Don't think about the extra because there are many algorithms. The extra, Bellman-Ford, many algorithms are there. How many algorithms you will remember and use which is there? You will always see which is the vertex you should pick that you can add to your algorithm safely. I mean, when I say safely, does it make sense to add it here, or is there can be problem where the vertex that you add can give you wrong solution? If that would have been the case, you pick the edge, but don't pick the vertex. Next time you pick it, I mean, you delayed it pickup. You pick it only when it's required. So in our case, once I go to a airport, I don't need to go to it again because if I go to it again, I'm doing cycles. That's not my intention is. So that's why I pick it up and write to the on the left side. So always think in terms of cut and the flow part of it. Don't think about the extra or Bellman-Ford. They will anyways come up. Once you think about it, they'll anyways come up. It's nothing but the extra only. If you look at this is the basic approach, the extra. But it's not completely based on the extra. I'm not doing a weight calculation here or I'm not minimizing anything here. Right?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, thanks.
Any other question, anyone?
One of the person has 15 years of work ex in Java, development experience in Java.
Yes, you need to actually. Yeah, I am able to see the question. He's asking, I have 15 experience and do I need to still worry about the structural algorithm? I will say depends upon company to company. If you want to apply maybe for the top 4, the bank-based companies, you will need it. Even for level 2, tier 2 companies, you will still need it. But if you still, I mean, if you're going specifically for a particular core domain, let's say you have experience in Java, but in Java in which particular technologies? So if you only want to go specifically, let's say you are going in database development, specifically in that core domain, or you're only going about API development or maybe supply chain fulfillment development, then you probably don't need to go into that deep if you only do easy level questions. So in the lead code, you have 3 levels of questions. Easy, medium, and hard. If you do just easy level based question, that will be enough. But if you are going for product development and which don't have any constraint over specific technologies, you will need it actually. I've seen people in my companies that we take interviews, people with 20 years of experience comes and we still ask them questions. We are asked to ask them questions. Yeah, you will require it.
Any other questions?
Yeah, there is one more. I'm currently working on DBA. What is the need? You are working as database administrator, then still you need it. It's better to, if you're working in DBA, for you, it's better to worry more about the trees part of it, trees and the strings, because the question that you ask DBA, the guy is usually based on strings and trees. We don't focus much on the array path and the graph part of it. If you just do the trees and please mention the course. So there are multiple courses online. ASAP Joes also have some courses. So you can either take that course. I think they are good courses. There are multiple courses they are offering. That's the one option. If you want for practice purpose, I usually follow LeetCode. LeetCode is good. And even if you want more practice, I think you can simply, there are, you can say, so right now Google Code Jam is going on. So all the big companies keeps on rolling out the coding competitions. You can join that if you want more up to date questions. If you just want to do some practice, you can do lead code.